Welcome to Suppository Repository, Moopybuns here. Today we're looking at Xanadu, an influential action RPG developed by Nihon Falcom currently on the Nintendo Switch. Xanadu is the second title of the Dragon Slayer series, which for the most part has been pretty insular to Japan except for some miscellaneous titles and modern spin-offs here and there over here in the West. It's impressive to see a notable title like this finally become available in the US after all this time, but does this game belong in your gaming library or is it better off being left in a museum? D4 Enterprise is a video game company that provides illegal emulation of older games to consoles, similar to Arcade Archives. Specifically, they seem to be focusing on the older Japanese computer games like from the PC-88 and their later model lines. There were several ports of Xanadu on various home computers back in the day, and here we have the PC-8801 mkIISR port in all its humble glory. Xanadu on the Switch is an emulated experience, virtual keyboard included and all. Text in the game is English with minimal Japanese and is completely playable for those worried. In Xanadu, you control an adventurer hero who traverses several locations to get riches, level up, and defeat several foes along the way to King Dragon. The heart of the game is getting stronger while learning the tools of the trade, or rather, the rules of the game. Keep in mind that this is an older game visually as well as mechanically, which is a double-edged sword in this situation. It's old school, and the manual in-game is presented well enough, but it's practically required reading to explain all the deeper details of the game starting out. The experience and feel of Xanadu can be fun, but honestly, it's kinda rough without an FAQ. Before you venture out to the caverns, go talk to the king, level up, and grab some items. You have limited resources of food, gold, experience, potions, and even enemies, which means that you have to play tightly while bumping into your foes. Weapons and armor require leveling and proficiency. Physical attacks and magic attacks gain different EXP points, and that needs to be handled appropriately in order to stand a chance against many hordes of monsters. The open-ended Metroidvania layout of the game shares plenty more puzzles and surprises up in store for those who are invested and daring enough to push through. There's a lot of this game that I haven't experienced yet, mostly because I keep dying. But for every smaller victory that I overcome, I get a little bit more and more interested in the game. There's a karma meter, reminiscent of Ultima and Wizardry, that has you facing against good and bad enemies that will change your alignment, that attack you the same regardless. Killing too many good enemies will lock you out of leveling and earning status, which you really need to require to progress further in the game. The only way to fix this is by drinking damaging black potions found only in the dungeons to reduce the meter down. You can easily ruin your run having to start straight up from the beginning for a bunch of reasons. Also included in the game is a scene select option in the game's menu, which is useful for getting into the game sections quickly with a preset character. It's really appreciated. The option of quick saving and loading as well as a speed/rewind function are also included in the options menu. Now here's the kicker for the biggest problem in the game, which is the keyboard controls. Putting the controls of a PC game with multiple buttons plopped onto a console goes as well as you expect it to. The virtual keyboard works, but it quickly gets complicated and it just isn't intuitive. Add monsters breathing down your neck and you got trouble. This title could definitely use some keyboard support in the future, which the Switch is actually capable of. Fingers crossed there, as I imagine most people won't make it very far without it. Overall, this game is for the rare enthusiast who values its history and aesthetic, overlooking its sheer jank and lack of keyboard support. The challenge and experience is the main appeal here, but it's of a bygone era that harkens back to days of real trial and error. This is by no means a bad thing, but not everyone will like that compared to its modern counterparts. If none of this appeals to you, then you may want to check out some of the other EGGCONSOLE titles instead. Xanadu is available for $6.49 on the Nintendo Switch. Let me know if you liked it or disliked it in the comments below and consider subscribing for more. Also, special thanks to the Basement Brothers YouTube channel and their video for Xanadu. This video wouldn't have been possible without them. Extremely informative, and their videos on PC-88 era titles are perfection. Go check them out.